the Honorable Minister. And we have before us a very experienced the Honorable Dr. Reddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, participants, Bulag Nakatiwal. It's always a pleasure to be here in Vunimoli. And of course, Vunimoli is a special place for me in Vunimoli. Ladies and gentlemen, some 20 years ago, when I was at USP, I used to attend a lot of international conferences, international forums. In those days, the international forums, the main discourse was about sustainable development, pro-poor growth, and the entire meetings used to always revolve around sustainable development and balanced growth. But over the last 2 decades, the international forums, international meetings, whether it's done by IMF, World Bank, given my economics background, I used to attend a lot of these. Of the last 2 decades, all these meetings, all these forums, all these discussions now cannot happen without taking into account the effect of climate change. The effect of climate change has infiltrated all spheres of life, all sectors. There's not any one sector which we can say is shielded from the effect of climate change. There's no one individual household, individual area, individual region which can say that we will not be affected by climate change, either directly or indirectly. And it is now one of the greatest challenges facing any institution, any DMU, any decision-making unit, any regional government or any country. And therefore, now this is an issue which is now openly discussed at different levels, different forums. Now the impact of climate change is so far-reaching that some of the damage done by climate change is irreversible in nature. Sometime back, when we were talking about issues on the environment, then some countries used to argue that we will grow now and come back and later on we will reverse the impact of the environment. But now, countries are realizing that climate change is much broader issue that encompasses all sectors, all spheres of life, all constituents, and the impact of climate change can have devastating impact on communities. One of the effects of climate change on communities, on infrastructure, on sectors is via waterways. The issue, the discourse between climate change and waterways is interlinked. Some 3-4 decades ago, 5 decades ago, when settlements used to take place, these agrarian communities used to settle along waterways, and the lifestyle used to be intertwined, interlinked with waterways. And these communities, villages or settlements along the waterways basically sourced their livelihood from waterways. Waterways were seen as a source of livelihood. In fact, some countries, waterways is also a source of other activities such as tourism, transportation. But in Fiji, waterways is source of recreational activities, source of food, source of livelihood, source of water for agriculture, and also household use. This very source of livelihood, this very source of promoting and leveraging growth in agriculture, is now in a number of areas is becoming a threat, to the extent that there are discussions about relocating communities. And when you talk about relocating communities, it's not about dismantling a house and taking it and constructing it somewhere. You're relocating the entire socio-cultural aspect of a community. You need to establish, when you're relocating a particular group of households, you need to establish entire life system in a new location. Employment opportunities, health, accessibility to health, education, The entire environment needs to be established. So it's not a simple exercise. And therefore, it is important that we should protect our waterways as far as possible. Now, hard engineering solutions are not a sustainable solution to deal with the problem caused by nature. A sustainable solution to a problem caused by nature is or should arise from the nature itself. And this workshop is precisely to deal with how we use Vetiver green technology to protect our waterways, and therefore we secure our communities, our infrastructure, and our other sectors which are linked to the waterways via factor market in particular. Ladies and gentlemen, small countries, small agrarian economies like Fiji and other Pacific Island countries, as well as small countries in the Caribbean region and the small states African region, depends to a large extent on how good the agriculture sector is performing. Countries have, at some point in time, thought that tourism is the solution to the economic woes. But external shocks to their economies have got them back to the drawing board to say that they should not completely rely on tourism. Look at now what's happening as a result of COVID-19, the coronavirus, which is affecting tourism sector, to say the least, in a number of developing countries where they saw tourism as a major mainstay of the economy. It again pushes us back to say that, look, there's a sector within our control, sector within our reach, and we should ensure that we build resilience in this sector, ability to bounce back from shocks very quickly, protect this sector, secure this sector, so that this sector can continue to provide a sustainable source of income, not only the micro, but in national interest, the national growth and development. And agriculture has the potential. But we cannot see climate change affecting one of the single most important binding constraints. One of the single most important binding constraints for agriculture growth and development, which is arable land. Arable land. And you see that in small developing countries which are volcanic in nature, majority of the quality arable land are around waterways and sea, coastal area. And we need to protect this arable land from threats from climate change. And I want to thank the development partners who believed in us when 2-3 years back, following the announcement by Honorable Minister of Economy, Honorable Ayah Sayyid Qayyum, that we will establish a dedicated Ministry for Waterways. Ladies and gentlemen, 2-3 years ago, 2017, June, Honorable Minister for Economy, Honorable Sayyid Qayyum announced the establishment of waterways. People were wondering, what is this, another ministry, small outfit out there. In December, when I was appointed as a minister for waterways, when people said that Minister for Water, Minister for Sewage, etc. Because they didn't have the vision, they couldn't see through. But the government knew that we must first of all recognize at the government level by establishing a dedicated ministry to deal with the issue of challenges faced via climate change on our waterways, which is intrinsically linked to the lifestyle of our rural population, of our maritime population. Otherwise, it will have a devastating impact on the communities, on the settlements, on the agriculture sector, and our infrastructure. Our roads around the waterways are being threatened. Our villages around the waterways are being threatened. Our schools around the waterways are being threatened or being washed away. We have relocated schools. When I was education minister, we allocated money to relocate buildings away from waterways. Ladies and gentlemen, at the same time, we need to protect, secure the waterways. I want to thank institutions, development partners who believe our storyline some 2 to 3 years ago, and started to assist us in technically, morally, and financially. I recall some 2 years ago when I first made the announcement of using Vetiver grass technology to protect our waterways. I had an email from Robinson. First of all, thanking, and secondly, acknowledging that we really have hit the nail on the head by calling out to using a nature-based solution to address the problem caused by nature. And then, very ably, he made a visit down at his own cost to Fiji and met us. Robinson, thank you. Thank you. I haven't forgotten the day when we met at the Waterways office. And thank you for all the support. You know, it doesn't mean you were not physically here, but your materials, your assurances, your thoughts have always been on our mind when we embarked on this journey to use this technology for a sustainable and environmentally friendly solution to protect our riverbanks. I want to thank Amit Singh, our director, for writing a very good proposal. You know, he has this skill of writing a very good, solid, in-depth proposal. You can't have a skill if you don't have solid knowledge in that area. He's got his master's from Netherlands, you know, on water resource management, and we were able to secure US $200,000 from government of South Korea. I want to thank the government of South Korea for providing that funding, which we have implemented and are in the process of completing that particular project of not only protecting the riverbanks, but also establishing nurseries, especially nurseries in Central, Northern and Western Division, so that people can go and get free vetiver grass planting material at no cost to them, and take it and plant it. And we will go down, assist them in transporting the material. But what we want them to know is how to use the technology. How do you do the planting? How do you do the design of the bank so that it's sustainable? Okay, the various designs, and we want our people to understand that the design also matters in terms of really strengthening the hold of the vetiver root on the bank. So, ladies and gentlemen, this workshop here today are also part of the R2R project, and I must say that these kinds of support from regional, international donors and NGOs will always be remembered, because this not only secures and strengthens and supports our community and protects our community, but also it is at the heart of our green environment campaign to make our environment clean and contribute to our Honorable Prime Minister's vision of making Fiji truly a green economy. So today's workshop is about how the vetiver grass technology will work, how it will ensure that how you use it, and how it will contribute to securing your community, your village, and your settlement infrastructure. I urge all of you to understand the importance of protecting the natural resources that is a source of your livelihood, that is contributing to leveraging our other sectors, whether it's industrial, whether it's agriculture sector. And as I alluded to before, the other ministry that I hold, agriculture and rural maritime, that ministry is heavily dependent on waterways. I have had investors coming over from developed countries wanting to invest in Fiji. And two of the key reasons that said to me is, I said, you've got massive landmass there. Why you want to do commercial agriculture here? And two of the reasons they've said is one is because we got an advantage. We can grow our crop year round. They can't grow during winter, so there's a major shortage of supply during winter. So if they can grow here and then supply, they have an advantage in terms of the competitive edge in the market, the pricing of the final product. And secondly, is in those countries, water for agriculture is very, very, very expensive. Very expensive. And here, we really are not valuing the massive amount of water resource we have. Yes, we do have drought. And that drought is not due to water shortage. That drought is due to water management. We've got a massive amount of water. But we are not really bothered and caring about the stock or volume of water. We are not concerned about recharging our groundwater. These are some of the things that we will be looking for going forward. How do we ensure that we will continue to recharge our groundwater? How do we ensure that that massive volume of water that we nicely using our waterways and drainage system take it to the sea, how do we retain it inland and use that? These are some of the really defining, binding constraints that we need to address to protect our country, our settlement, our agriculture sector, other sectors going forward. And these are some of the deep thinking that we need to do rather than just superficially addressing issues on surface. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank our Tuar staff, other ministry staff who are supporting Waterways and Environment. Our PS Wycliffe is not here, but he is totally, very deeply supporting this project. Our Director Environment also is very supportive of this, our Director Operations. And I want to again thank Dr. Paul Truong for being here, and of course Robinson who is here. This was, I now officially opened the workshop, and I want to urge you all to please let's get it right from day go. Thank you, Naka.
Or any people around the world, except those living high rise in New York, and are effective in doing what we wanted to do along the waterways in Fiji. But and insecticide or whatever. But it's very good for you have a landslide, very steep slope. But that's another session. Probably I will go over fairly quickly to show you the example of the modeling. I can go to you, but I don't want our system. I've used it to call the Vetiver system, the technology, the term system of the Vetiver. It's not only growing.
Land mass is decreasing. You may not realize it, but it's decreasing in size. Every time you see a brown river or at the front of the beach.
My name is Paul Truong. I'm the technical director of the NGO organization, American organization called the Vetiver Network International. I deal with all the technical aspects of the use of the vetiver grass. The purpose of this training seminar is on the request of the Ministry of Waterway and Environment to come to Fiji to introduce the use of the vetiver system to Fiji. Well, we will present 6 sessions. The first session will be the introduction of the vetiver system, what it is, what can it do, and why it's so effective and been using all around the world, and it is a very good recommendation from the Ministry of Waterway to introduce it into Fiji. The next 3 sessions is more technical. Robinson will show the participant how to grow the vetiver, how to maintain it, how to cut it, and things like that to be used on the waterways. The next session is for me this is a highly technical section to present to the participant exactly why you have to plant the vetiver in a certain way. The reason, based on scientific research, why you to be effective, you have not only using vetiver, but you have to plant it correctly, otherwise it's not effective. And my last session is we move upland a bit. Fiji at the moment, as I know, have a bit of problem with the erosion on the mountain. You have a problem with the reforestation. Over the years, the timber cut from the mountain and the ground remain bare. And now the Ministry of Forestry start looking at reforest to plant the forestry back. But the slope is so old, so bare. Without the vetiver, you plant the trees, the tree will wash down in the next storm. So the combination, we use vetiver to stop the erosion, and we plant the trees. So that's in progress at the moment. Just like to add the emphasis is, I'm really happy to say that the minister, Dr. Reddy, recognized the importance of vetiver and introduced to Fiji, and I would encourage not only the government promotion part, but the whole of Fiji, especially the industrial part, and the development part, is any of the thing to do with the land and the water in Fiji, or for that matter around the world. Vetiver in a position to stop the pollution and erosion. So it has been used over 100 countries now. So I can't see why it can't work in Fiji.